محمد وآله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين شفيع المذنبين رحمة للعالمين مولانا وسيدنا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرض مولانا حجة ابن الحسن عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. اللهم صل على محمد ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الإمام الرضا عليه الصلاة والسلام: اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. يا عبد العظيم أبلغ عني أوليائي السلام وقل لهم أن لا يجعلوا للشيطان على أنفسهم سبيلا. Respected elders, brothers and sisters, tonight we are commemorating the Shahadat of our 8th Imam. And there are a few points which I wanted to discuss, but before that I've been requested to ask the dear brothers to come and fill as many of these spaces as possible at the front, so that then the other mu'mineen who are coming in will not find difficulty, inshallah, to have space. With salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal ya Ali. Subhanallah. Tonight, as I said, we are commemorating the Shahadat of 8th Imam. This is the Imam who is known as probably one of the unique Imams in that sense, because of where he ended up in his blessed life, where he passed away, where he is buried, and the merits of his ziyarat are immense. Those of us who have been fortunate enough to do the ziyarat of Imam Ridha alayhi salam, we are very, very fortunate. There is so much sawab associated with that. In fact, in some riwayat, it has been said that more than the ziyarat of Imam Hussein is the sawab of ziyarat of Imam Raza. And he is, of course, Gharibul Ghuraba, because he is buried the furthest away from all the Imams. So he is known as Gharibul Ghuraba. And there are so many things that have been narrated regarding the speciality of the ziyarat of the Imam from actual eyewitnesses and people who have gone for the ziyarat. These are normal, everyday kind of people who have reported. And there are so many of these reports that, we cannot just dismiss them. If there are one or two, okay, maybe we say, okay, someone exaggerated or something like this. But there are so many that we cannot dismiss them. One of them, for example, there's a person who is a khadim. He's a helper in the haram. One of those people who collects the shoes, or, for example, cleans, or tells you where to go, or organizes things. One of those khadims of the haram. He narrates that how did he become a khadim? How did he end up serving Imam Ridha alayhi salam? How did he end up as one of those special people in the haram? He says, actually, once upon a time, I was not even religious. I was a Shia by name for sure, but I was not really practicing. Yes, my family were religious, my mom was religious, but I didn't really have time for religion. And he lived in Mashhad, and he says that I did not even have time or even respect to go for the ziyarat of Imam Raza, living in that city. All of a sudden, one day, his health suffers. He goes to the doctor, he gets a diagnosis, the doctor says, you have cancer. He was a wealthy person. He says, you know what, I'm going to go and find the best doctor. He goes out within Iran, he looks, no one can treat him. They say, this is beyond us. He says, no problem, I'll go to Europe, Europe can't treat him. He goes to States, States can't treat him. The best thing he hears from the doctors is, we are sorry, but you only have a few months to live. And he says to himself, now I understand that money can't buy a cure. And he goes back to Iran. And he says, when I went back to Iran, all of a sudden, I was different. Because now, my sentence has been given to me, right? I've only got a few months to live. So all of a sudden, he becomes very kind, very patient, treats people nicely, talks nicely, polite. He's patient with children, he's patient with people, treats everyone with a lot of kindness. His mom still tells him that, I want you to go for ziyarat of Imam Raza. And he's like, Mom, all my life I haven't been going. All my life I haven't been going. Now you're telling me at the end of my life to go. So she keeps insisting. So he says to himself, look, I'm not much of a believer. I'm not much of a practicing person. But okay, I don't want to upset my mom in the last few months of my life. At least that much I don't want to do. Okay, no problem. For the respect of my mother, I'll go. So he says that I took some people with me. I said, help me go. Be with me. So we went and I said, let me do wuzu first at least. Whatever the case is, I'm going to a holy personality. Let me do wuzu. Let me purify myself. He says that as I did wuzu and I was entering into the haram, all of a sudden, I'm looking at the zari and I'm seeing actually in the spiritual realm, Allah showed me that Imam Raza alayhi salam came towards me. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And he came towards me and I started to shake and tremble and I couldn't understand what was going on. And everyone around me was thinking, what's going on with this guy? Because they couldn't see what I was seeing. And Imam Raza alayhi salam approached me and he said, you have a problem? And I said, yes, I've got cancer. And he says, here's your cure. And he did something. In the words of this person, he gave me my cure. Now what does that mean? We don't know. He gave me my cure. And then he turned and he was going back. All of a sudden I was overcome and I said, no, I must thank him. I must thank him. So I said, Mawla, Mawla, Agha, Agha. He wouldn't turn back. And then he said, I remembered one thing that someone had said, that if you want the attention of Imam Raza, give him the wasata of his son Imam Jawad. So I said, Agha bihaqqi Jawadat. Agha, I'm giving you the wasata of your son Jawad, Imam Jawad. And then he turned around. And I said, Mawla, let me thank you. Can I kiss your hand? And he said to me, I did not give you your cure for you. I gave it for your mother. Go and kiss her hand. And then he actually he changes obviously. He is cured, he changes, his life changes. And now he becomes a khadim of the haram. How many such stories? Honestly, there are so many of these stories. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to go for the ziyarat of Imam Raza, inshallah. For tonight's main discussion, elders, brothers and sisters, I wanted to share with you one of the messages of Imam Raza. We are, mashallah, and I'm saying we because I believe we are all together and we are all one. We are, mashallah, a very vibrant community. May Allah protect us, guard our community, protect our community and guide us always onto the straight path. And we are embarking upon a new chapter, right? So we have a Project Orange is there, and inshallah that will be a very fruitful, successful, spiritual, religious step that we are taking on the path of Ahlul-bayt alayhimus salam. And so we need this community to be very, very strong, united, and always focused on what we want to do. Now, what are we? We are HIC, right? Husseini Islamic Center. So our activities, our attitudes, our akhlaq should all mirror as much as possible. Of course, we are fallible human beings, but should mirror as much as possible Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This is why we call it Husseini Islamic Center. This is why we have these names of our centers, right? So we want it to, as much as possible, reflect the values of Abu Abdullah and Ahlul-bayt. Now, what makes a community? Definitely infrastructure is important, definitely funding is important, definitely buildings are, definitely technology is important. All of these things are very, very important and they add to the ingredients of a successful community. But the backbone of any community is the unity of that community, the togetherness, the walking together, striving together. Now, this is the spirit in which I want to share this message of the eighth Imam with you, inshallah, if you are ready. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So, Imam begins, this is a letter of Imam Raza. This is a letter of Imam Raza that he writes to his companion. Who is the companion? You've heard of Shah Abdul Azim, yes? You've been to Tehran, you've done his ziyarat most likely. Shah Abdul Azim. He himself is a very great personality. If you want to list some of the great personalities who have met multiple Imams, Shah Abdul Azim is one of those special ones. Very lucky, very fortunate to have met number of the Imams. He's from the progeny of Imam Hassan, the second Imam. And he lived during the Imamat of 7th Imam, 8th Imam, 9th Imam and 10th Imam. So he had some contact with all of these 4 Imams, imagine. And he was very greatly respected. And Imam Raza writes to him a letter, which I'm going to summarize and explain, inshallah, right? So he begins and he says, O Abdul Azim, Ya Abdul Azim, Abligh anni awliya'i salam. Look how much Imams loved us. Look how much the Imams loved us. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you think you love the Imams, believe me, they love you more. If you have shawq and this yearning to go for the ziyarat of Imam Raza, believe me, Imam Raza has more yearning for you to go to his ziyarat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Muhammad. When we say Imam bolaiwa, Imam ne bulaya, that is not just hyperbole, that is not just an exaggeration. Really Imam Raza alayhi salam wanted you there. Really Abba Abdullah wanted you there. And they love us. So he says, the first thing he says is, O Abdul Azim, Abligh, send my salams to my Shias. How much blessing there must be in our life just from this salam of Imam Raza 1400 years ago. That blessing of the salams of Imam Raza to us and the salams of all the A'immah, they've all prayed for us and saluted us at different times. So he says, the first thing I want you to do is give my salams to my Shias and explain to them this advice of mine. Meaning, this is not confined to any time. So don't think, oh, this was advice for people at that time. No. It is for all Shias until the end of time. Imam Raza is giving us this message. For us today, no matter where we are, who we are, this is Imam's address to us. He saw it so important, what we're about to discuss, that he put it in a letter and he makes sure that this reaches us today. Ya Abdul Azim, give them my salams and then qul lahum, and now tell them something from me. Number 1, an la yaj'alu lish-shaytani ala anfusihim sabila. The first thing Imam Raza says. So there are 5 points in this section. The first thing he says, point number 1, tell my Shias, do not allow a way for shaitan to influence them. Every single one of us, we have our own issues. We are not the same. All of us are struggling with different things. One person, it could be the eyes is where shaitan gets hold of them. They look at bad things. Another person could be speech, that they can't control their speech. They do ghibat, for example, or lies, or whatever it may be. Someone it may be wealth, someone it may be pride, someone it may be his family or her family. It could be anything. Find in your life, what is that thing? Where is the trigger that shaitan is grabbing a hold of you? What is it that is in your life for shaitan to have that way into and influencing you? The first thing he says, tell my Shias, they need to find this thing. What is the issue that shaitan is manipulating and using to get to them? Everyone is different. Everyone needs to ask themselves this question. Number 2, وَمُرْهُمْ بِالصِّدْقِ فِي الْحَدِيثِ. I think 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 majalis maybe we could just do on this one point, this second point. Tell my Shias to make sure they are always truthful in their speech. Always truthful in their speech. Number 3, وَأَدَاءِ الْأَمَانَةِ. And they need to be trustworthy when they are given property and trusts. Someone trusts you with something, you need to look after it. Someone tells you something, I often make this joke, I've probably said it before. If you want your news to spread in the community, just tell someone, brother, I'm telling you something, please don't tell anyone. By tomorrow it'll be out. This is part of amanat. When we give a secret to someone, when we entrust someone with something, this is amanat. This is one of the amanats. Okay? Wa ada'il amana. That's number 3. Number 4. Wa murhum bis sukut. Tell them to remain quiet sometimes. Well, sometimes is my word actually. He just says, Imam Raza actually says, tell them to be quiet. Tell them to maintain silence. Tell them that there are so many afat al-lisan, there are so many afat of the zaban, there are so many calamities which come because of loose speech and loose talk. So he says, tell them to remain quiet, observe silence. And then this is a beautiful point. Very, very, I think our community is very strong in this point. وَإِقْبَالِ بَعْضِهِمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ وَالْمُزَاوَرَةِ. Tell them to visit one another, to mix with one another, to socialize. Islam is big on socializing between mu'mineen, to exchange news, to ask one another, how are you, how are you doing, can I help you? To be bothered about one another, to help one another. We should have, and I'm sure we do have, I'm 100% sure we do have, support structures and these kinds of things where we can turn, we can confide in someone and we can tell them our issues and they can help us, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. So these were the 5 introductory points. These are the general advices that he gives to all of us, all of the Shias. 5 pieces of advice. And then he says the following. فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ قُرْبَةٌ إِلَيَّ. If they do these 5 things, they will be very close to me. We want to go to Mashhad, isn't it? To be close to Imam Raza. Imam Raza is saying, you can stay where you are, you do these 5 things, you'll be close to me. You can do these 5 things and you will be close to me. So these were the 5 introductory things. And then he comes on to the main thing regarding community. He says the following. وَلَا يَشْغَلُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ بِتَمْزِيكِ بَعْضِهِمْ بَعْضًا. Tell my Shias to not engage in, I'm going to use the Arabic word first. Tell my Shias not to engage in tamzeek of one another. What is tamzeek? Tell them not to do tamzeek of one another. Tamzeek means to rip each other apart, to tear each other, to destroy one another. In other words, tell them not to disrespect one another, ridicule one another, offend one another, put one another down. This is the meaning of tamzeek. Imam Raza alayhi salam, he says, tell them not to hurt one another. If you want to put it under a general umbrella word, tell them not to hurt one another. This is one of the main issues of communities. That whatever happens, people get hurt, they keep that grudge, they keep that issue. He says, tell them to be careful with one another. Do not engage in tamzeek, to hurt one another, to rip each other apart. Now, how serious is this? How serious is this matter? Because we've heard it a lot, isn't it? Haqqun nas, we always hear it. How serious is it? Is it something we should take serious? Well, I would like you to reflect now on the words of Imam Raza, which I'm now going to narrate. And you tell me then how serious it is. Okay? Listen to the words of Imam Raza, then you judge for yourself and you tell me how serious this matter is. فَإِنِّي آلَيْتُ عَلَى نَفْسِي. I swear to myself, these are the words of Imam Raza, I swear to myself, whoever does this and hurts a friend of mine, whoever hurts a friend of mine, a friend of Imam Raza, I will pray to Allah to punish him in this world with the most painful punishment. Imam Raza alayhi salam's words, the kind Imam, but look how seriously he takes this point. Look how seriously he takes the point of Haqqun Nas. Look how seriously he takes the point of hurting others. I will pray to Allah that He should punish him in this world with a painful punishment. Would Allah refuse the du'as of Imam Raza? No chance. So, and then he continues, and in the hereafter he will be of the losers. And then he goes on. He says, وَأَرِّفْهُمْ, inform my Shias that Allah will definitely forgive the good amongst them. So here now, Imam Raza has given us a warning, and now he's giving us a hope as well. Inform them that Allah will definitely forgive the good among them, will overlook the sins of the bad ones amongst them, except two things. Except two things. One is whoever commits shirk, that will not be forgiven because now you have associated a partner with Allah, so how can He forgive you? And number two, whoever hurts one of my friends, that will not be forgiven. Or harbors any evil towards them. He continues. He continues. Let's have a salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Imam continues, Allah will not forgive this until that person stops this action. Otherwise, and this is where it gets really scary, otherwise Allah will remove the light of faith from his heart. But Khudaya, I've not done anything against you. Allah will say, I'm sorry, you hurt one of my friends, and you hurt one of the friends of Imam Raza. You hurt one of the friends of Amirul Mu'mineen. You hurt someone in whose heart was the wilayat of Ali. I will remove even your faith from your heart if it gets to that extent. So that's one. I will remove the light of faith, and he will exit from my wilayat. He will come out of my protective guardianship. What is wilayat? Wilayat means the protective guardianship of the Imams. He will exit that. In other words, we're done with him. Hurmat of a mu'min, sanctity of a mu'min, respect of a mu'min, abaru of a mu'min, izzat of a mu'min. It is of the topmost, most serious things. Alongside Haqqullah, we have Haqqun Nas. Imam Raza alayhi salam continues. He will derive no benefit from our wilayat. He will now, in more explanation, Imam Raza says he will now not derive any benefit from our wilayat. Wilayat is the thing that is saving us. Wilayat is the thing that is giving us all our spirit and energy. Wilayat is the thing that we rely on in this world and the life hereafter. Wilayat is the thing that we would give up the whole world, but we will not give up wilayat of Ahlul-bayt. Imam Raza says, you mess with my other Shias, you mess with my other mu'mineen, this will be removed from you. You will exit our wilayat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So, this is the end of the letter of Imam Raza. We will stop here with the letter. But the meaning of this is that Imams have somehow, they are so merciful because they manifest the mercy of God. They somehow have joined their hearts onto our hearts. Meaning, if one of us is hurt, they feel the pain. Meaning, if one of us is disrespected, they feel disrespected. Meaning, if you do something against another mu'min, you've done something sort of against the Imams themselves. Example from history, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. A man comes to Imam Sadiq. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says to him, why do you humiliate me? Imam Sadiq alayhi salam is saying to the man, why do you humiliate me? He says, Mawla, I have never humiliated you. I've not done anything to you. I've not degraded you. What do you mean? Imam Sadiq says to him, one of our mu'mineen was in Johfa. He asked you for a lift. Probably this person had a horse and carriage or something like that. He asked you for a lift and you refused him. You humiliated and degraded me. You denied one of my Shias, you denied me. Imagine the connection of the hearts of the mu'mineen with A'immah. Nabi Musa, he says, Ya Rabbi, Ya Ilahi. He asked a question to Allah once. Ma jaza'u man kaffa azahu anin nas. Khudaya, tell me, what is the reward or what is the recompense of someone who doesn't allow his harmful side to reach people? People are safe from him. He doesn't bother people. He doesn't hurt people. What is the reward for that? Allah says, Qala ya Musa, O Musa, his reward will be that on the day of judgment, the fire of hell will say to him, I have no way to touch you. He will be safe. No azab will come to him. No fire of hell will come to him. The reward is immense. The punishment is immense. The reward for not hurting is very, very high. But the punishment for hurting is also very, very high. Now, let me finish with one of the stories from the life of Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. This is a very powerful narration, and it's very good to keep in mind. Because as insan, we become weak sometimes. We get angry, we get emotional. But this is a very good thing to keep in mind. Now, Imam Kazim, he lived at the time of the accursed Harun al-Rashid. Harun was the ruler. Imam alayhi salam was living in Medina. Now, typically, imams would never allow their followers to work in the government of Bani Umayyah and Bani Abbas. Typically. Never would the imams allow anyone to work in those governments. Because you're aiding. By working in those governments, you are helping and aiding people who have taken the haqq of your imam. But on very few occasions, they allowed only certain individuals with terms and conditions. One of those individuals who was allowed, his name was Ali ibn Yaqteen. Ali ibn Yaqteen. He was a special person. He was a disciple and a companion of 7th Imam. He was one of those rare people that Imam allows to work in the Bani Abbas government with the condition. The condition was, you work there, but you look out for our Shias. You do things for the benefit of our Shias. And this Ali ibn Yaqteen says yes, he agrees, and therefore he's given this unique permission to work under the government of the Bani Abbas. Now it so happens that one day, so now Ali ibn Yaqteen is in Taqiyya. Yeah, he's not revealing that he's a Shia. He's a follower of Imam Musa Kazim. One day it so happens that one of the Shias called Ibrahim Jamal. Ibrahim Jamal was a Shia, and he knew Ali ibn Yaqteen is one of us, and he had to go and see him for some help and support that he needed. Ibrahim Jamal was a camel herder. Literally, the word Jamal means one who works with camels. He was a camel herder. Now, what does a camel herder look like? He comes, he's trying to get an audience with Ali ibn Yaqteen, the great minister of the time. So this guy, camel herder, he comes along, asteen para, torn sleeves, bare feet, and he's saying, I want to meet the minister, Ali ibn Yaqteen. Someone says to Ali ibn Yaqteen, there's a man here to see you. This is what he looks like. Ali ibn Yaqteen says, tell him I'm very busy, I don't have time. Tell him, I'm busy, I don't have time. They send him away. Ibrahim Jamal comes back to Medina. He meets with 7th Imam. He says, Mawla, I went to see Ali ibn Yaqdin, but he didn't have time for me. Imam Musa Kazim says, okay. That same year, it is now the time of Hajj. Ali ibn Yaqdin, his practice was, after Hajj, he would go to Medina to visit his Mawla, his Imam, Imam Musa Kazim. He knocks on the door. The servant of Imam Musa Kazim opens the door. Yes, I'm Ali ibn Yaqdin, I'm here to see Imam Musa Kazim. The servant says, wait there. He goes, he comes, he says, Imam Musa Kazim says he doesn't have time. Ali ibn Yaqdin is shocked, heartbroken, devastated. Devastated. Imagine, Imam says to you, I don't have time for you. He says, what is going on here? He said, something is not right. What have I done? What has gone wrong? He says to himself, nothing doing. I'm going to sit here on the basically doorstep. Imam has to come out of his house at some time. He has to come out at some point. When he comes out, I'll grab his feet and I'll grab him and I'll say, Imam, what's wrong? Tell me, what have I done? So he sits there and he waits. And eventually Imam Musa Kazim does come out. So he rushes to him and he says, Mawla, what's wrong? What have I done? Imam Musa Kazim tells him, Ali ibn Yaqdin, the condition was you are to help our Shias. My Shia came to you and you turned him away and you said you don't have time. So Ali ibn Yaqdin says, Mawla, tell me, what do I need to do? So Mawla says exactly what Imam Raza alayhi salam says in this letter. Mawla says, you need to go and ask him for forgiveness first. Then you come back to me. That guy lives where? Kufa. This is Medina. Ali ibn Yaqdin does not waste a moment. He gets a horse, he saddles, he rides, he goes to Kufa without any delay. He comes to the house of, he finds the house of Ibrahim Jamal. He knocks on the door. Who is it? Ali ibn Yaqdin. Ibrahim Jamal says, are you joking or what? He says, no, it's really Ali ibn Yaqdin. I'm here to see you. He opens the door. Lo and behold, it is Ali ibn Yaqdin. He says, yes, how are you here? What do you want? How can I help you? He says, listen, my Mawla is upset with me. My Mawla is upset with me because I turned you away. And I'm here to ask you for forgiveness. Ibrahim Jamal says, no problem, I forgive you, don't worry about it, it's not such a big deal. He says, no. He says, I want your forgiveness in a very special way. Look at the humility of the true Shias. Yes, he made a mistake, he turned someone away, yes. But look at now the humility of this person, Ali ibn Yaqdin. He says, no, I want you to forgive me in a very special way. I am going to put my cheek on the ground. You put your foot on my other cheek. In other words, you step on my face. Let me feel your footprint. And then you forgive me. And Ibrahim Jamal was like, no way. How would I do that? I can't do such a thing. Ali ibn Yaqdin insists so much that Ibrahim Jamal says, okay, fine. And then he puts his foot to the lightest possible extent, obviously, on the face of Ali ibn Yaqdin. And these are the words of Ali ibn Yaqdin. As the foot is placed, he says, Allahumma shahad. O Allah, bear witness. If I have done any takabbur to this servant of yours, I have made myself so low at this moment that I hope that the takabbur I did has been made up for. The izzat of a mu'min. The izzat of a mu'min. Imagine Imam Musa Kazim saying to Ali ibn Yaqdin, this is what you need to do. You need to go and seek forgiveness before you come back to me. Azizan, I hope if I've done anything to offend you, you'll forgive me. And inshallah, we should all forgive each other. And we should all unite under one banner of Imam Zaman, inshallah. We unite and we work selflessly, tirelessly, sincerely, inshallah. Sincerity comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That we be very, very careful with one another, how we treat one another, how we behave, how we talk. Inshallah, Allah give us tawfiq. Tonight is the night of Shahadat of 8th Imam. Imam Musa Kazim lived at the time of Harun. Imam Ridha alayhi salam lived at the time of Ma'mun. Two very evil people. Imam Ridha's popularity was increasing so much, Ma'mun could not take it anymore. He saw Imam Ridha alayhi salam as a threat. So on one occasion, Imam Ridha alayhi salam says to his servant Abbas Salt, he says, "Oh Abbas Salt, I will shortly be summoned to meet Ma'mun. And when I go, you may see me come back in a different way. When I come back, you may see that I have a covering over my head and my face. In other words, I'll be suffering." Indeed, he is summoned. He tells Abbas Salt that when you see me in this state, you are to put me inside my room and then you don't bother me. You will hear my voice reciting zikr. And as you hear my voice, you are not to disturb me. When you do not hear my voice, then you are to come in. Shortly after Imam Ridha is summoned, he goes. He is given the poison in the grapes by Ma'mun, the accursed. The poison affects Imam Ridha alayhi salam's body in such a way the pain spreads throughout the body of Imam Ridha. Imam Ridha now feels so weak. He gets up. Ma'mun says, "Where are you going?" He says, "Ma'mun, I'm going to that place where you want me to go." In other words, now I'm at the end of my life. He leaves Ma'mun. He comes back to his home. Abbas Salt is waiting. The servant is waiting. Abbas Salt sees that indeed Imam Ridha has come. His face is covered. His head is covered. He does not look well. Abbas Salt takes Imam, puts him into his room. Imam reminds him that, "Oh Abbas Salt, do not enter. While you hear my voice, do not enter. When you stop hearing my voice, you can enter." He says, "Mawla, I agree, I will do this." Then some Zakirin say the following, that Imam Ridha makes another request to Abbas Salt. He says, "Oh Abbas Salt, you see all these carpets in my room, remove them. Allow me to lay on the floor." "Mawla, why do you want to lay on the floor?" And he says, "Because I want to feel something that Aba Abdullah felt on the day of Ashura. I want to feel something that my grandfather Hussein felt." Abbas Salt removes those carpets. He goes outside the room. He closes the door. He can hear the blessed voice of Imam Ridha doing the zikr of Allah. All of a sudden, after a while, the voice stops. There is silence. Abbas Salt now goes back into the room. When he opens the door, he sees the body of Imam Ridha alayhi salam is there on the ground. Next to the body, there is a young boy. That was Imam Muhammad Taqi, Imam Jawad alayhi salam, there at the side of Imam Ridha. He says, "How did you come in? I have been waiting outside this room. No one has come in. How did you come in? Who are you?" Imam Jawad alayhi salam answers him, "I am that one. The successor of my father is me, and he told you about me, and this is me, and now I am here at the side of my father." We say, "Oh Imam Ridha alayhi salam, indeed, you suffered a lot, Mawla. You had the poison running through your body. You were suffering, but your son was able to come to your side, Mawla. Your son was there in your last moments. Your son was there to bury you, Mawla. We turn our attention to Karbala. That body lay on the sands of Karbala for 2 or 3 days in the heat and in the sun. And after 2 or 3 days is when Imam Sajjad alayhi salam could come. How would Imam Sajjad have felt as he is passing by the body on the 11th of Muharram, when he looks down and he sees the torn, trampled body of Imam Hussein, When Bibi Zainab sees that body, what does she do? They say Zainab collapses on the body of Abu Abdullah. When she sees the body, she looks towards Medina. She addresses Rasulullah. She says, Wa Muhammada, Hadha al-Hussein murammalun bid-dima. Oh grandfather Rasulullah, this is your Hussein, covered in his own blood, muqatta'ul a'dha, in the state that his limbs have been severed. Allah la'natullah al-qawmi al-zalimin, mata mein Hussein.